Morning, my friends. It is time to do some math. So we are still talking about three-digit numbers today, but we are going to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about comparing two numbers and seeing which one of those numbers is greater, which one is lesser, or if the numbers are equal. So we're going to start by working through, this is lesson 12. We're going to start by working through the lesson that is in your instruction workbook, your Ready Math instruction workbook. So you can follow along with this video if you'd like. You can go back and work these pages later on, maybe with a grown-up or an older sibling. It's completely up to you. And you can watch this video more than once. You can stop it and start it as you need to. So on the first page, and I believe, this is page in your instruction book. This is page 105. No, 104. 104 and 105 is where I got this lesson from. So we have two beanbag targets, and they are grids. They've got numbers in them, and each one of those numbers represents a digit in a number. So Kim and John, they're tossing beanbags at the numbers. So they have three beanbags, so they're going to toss the beanbags and try to land on three different numbers, three different digits, spaces, so they can create numbers. So it says Kim and John toss beanbags at a target. What is the greatest number each person can make using the digits they landed on? Whose number has more hundreds? So if we look at Kim's grid, and she's got the red beanbags, her beanbags landed on a 1, a 2, and a 4. So knowing what you know about place value, what is the greatest number that she can create using those digits? So which number would we want in the hundreds place if we're trying to create the greatest number? Well, we would probably want the greatest one that she landed on to be in our hundreds place, right? So that would be the 4. If we're trying to create the greatest number, we want that higher number in our hundreds place. And then we're going to go to the next highest number for our tens place, and that would be the 2. And then the 1 would go in the ones place. So what are some other numbers that Kim could make just so we can have something to compare? Well, she could do 124. She could have done, what else? 241. She could have done 142. So there's some different numbers that she could have done. But the greater number that she could create would be by using that 4 in the hundreds place. So then we need to explain why. And you could use your own words. Why is 421 the greatest number that Kim could make? And you're going to want to talk about place value. So the B section says one of John's beanbags did not land on the board. If you look and see his two blue, or maybe those are purple beanbags, one of them did not land on the board, so it doesn't count. So he can only use two numbers. So what is the greatest number that John can make? So it looks like he's got a 7 and a 9. So he's going to want the greater number in the tens place, which would be the 9. And then his other number will be in the ones place. So the greatest number that he can make is 97. So why can't he make a number, a three-digit number? Well, because only 2 of his beanbags landed on the board, right? So he doesn't have a third digit to put in the hundreds place. He only has 2 digits, one for the tens place and one for the ones place. So let's go to the next slide. So now we're going to answer how many hundreds, tens, and ones are in each number. So to remember, Kim's number was 421. John's number was 97. So how many hundreds are in the number 421? 4. Please make sure you're not writing the values. You would not put 400 hundreds. There are not 400 hundreds in the number 421. How many tens? Well, that's a 2. There are 2 tens. and 1, 1. Now let's go down here and look at John's number. How many hundreds? Think about that for a second. How many hundreds? 0. That's right, 0. He only had 2 beanbags land on the board. He doesn't have a number for that third digit, but he does have 9 10s and 7 ones in his number. So compare the numbers. Which has more hundreds? Well, Kim's number has more hundreds, so I would write 421 has more hundreds. Why does 421 have more hundreds? Well, because 97 doesn't even have any hundreds, right? That hundreds place of his number is blank. There are 0 hundreds. So if I look right here, Kim's number has 4 hundreds, John's number has 0 hundreds. 4 is greater than 0. So which number has more hundreds? 421. So when you compare numbers, always start with the greatest place value. So if it's a 3-digit number, that's going to be the hundredths place. Compare the digits in each place. So this example is kind of easy because John doesn't have any hundreds, so we automatically know that Kim's number is greater because there's a number in the hundreds place of her number. 4 hundreds is greater than 0 hundreds all day long, so we know that her number is greater. And there's a really cool little fun way to show when we compare which one is greater and which one is less. And then, of course, we have the equal sign if 2 numbers are equal. So let's look down here. It says a number with more hundreds is greater. So 421 is greater than 97. So we filled it into our little model here. And envision it as an alligator's mouth, okay? And the alligator's hungry. Alligators are always hungry. And so the alligator's open mouth is always going to be pointed towards the greater number. So if you're comparing 2 numbers, the alligator's mouth is always going to be open to the greater number. They always want to eat the most, right? So they always want to eat the greater number. And then we read this like a number sentence. 97 is less than 421. 97 is less than 421. So that's how you read this symbol here. And then if we were to flip it the other way and put the greater number first, we would read it this way. 421 is greater than, it's switched, than 97. And the open mouth of the alligator is always going to be open towards the greater number. So think of the less than and greater than signs as a hungry alligator's mouth that is always open to eat the greater number. And then last for today, we're going to talk about this question. Why is a 3-digit number always greater than a 2-digit number? Think about that for a second. Why is a 3-digit number always going to be greater than a 2-digit number? Well, I know that a 3-digit number has a number in the hundreds place, right? And a 2-digit number does not. A 2-digit number, there are no hundreds. So a 3-digit number is always going to be greater than a 2-digit number because there are hundreds in that 3-digit number. So today in Seesaw, you have your math assignment, and it is going to be pages 119 and 120, and that is in Seesaw. I also posted for you the study guide that we created today. That is, remember, it's exactly like what your test will look like, except the numbers are a little bit different, but the problems are exactly the same. So there's nothing for you to do for this activity. If you want to respond just to say, I studied, that would be great. That way I'll know that you did study. So your study guide is also posted in Seesaw. All right, you guys. See you tomorrow.